Next at 4, a scary morning for a local homeowner. A stolen car plows into her living room. Coming up, the hunt for suspects and the car owner's plea.
Plus, more rain on the way, how much to expect, and who could be at risk for flooding. I'm Naomi Wilson.
And I'm Jackson Dufault. Live at 4 is next.
This is breaking news now from today's TMJ4.
Breaking now on Live at 4. First Lady Melania Trump underwent a medical procedure today to treat a benign kidney condition. The White House says the procedure was successful and there were no complications. Mrs. Trump is recovering at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where she'll be for the rest of this week. The president is expected to visit her later this evening.
We have seen a lot of rain over the last few days, and now there are flooding concerns in southeast Wisconsin.
Meteorologist Brian Gaudier joins us with the weather. To stay up to date on the forecast on the go, download our Storm Shield app. You can get current conditions and accurate forecasts. The app also tells you when severe weather is heading your way.
Milwaukee police are looking for several people who crashed a stolen car into a house and ran off. It happened on Milwaukee's northeast side around 9 this morning.
Our Maya Norman is back from the scene and is in the newsroom now after talking with the homeowner. Maya?
Jackson and Naomi, thankfully the homeowner near 68th and Silver Spring wasn't hurt when a car came plowing through, but she's left with a huge mess.
The owner of this two-story brick home was in her kitchen when she heard a loud boom as this car plowed halfway into her living room.
Shocked me. I got a call and Mom said that car ran into her house. Come on over, get over here quick.
The homeowner's son, Gary Bowman, could hardly believe it.
Not supposed to happen, but it did.
Until he arrived to a gaping hole around this bay window.
She's shooken up, but I mean, she's going to be 90 and you got to expect that.
The home his mother has lived in for the past half-century, now in need of extensive repairs.
I'm just glad the people that's inside the house is okay.
Navaris Campbell also rushed over, but for other reasons.
My brother woke up and said the car was gone.
Campbell says this Chevy Impala is his car that was stolen this morning from his home less than half a mile away.
I worked so hard for this. Just got it. And then not even just buying it, I just put so much work into it.
While police search for the suspects who ran off after the crash, Campbell finds himself looking for a new vehicle, as his is likely totaled.
Please stop stealing cars. It's not nice. People work hard for what they have.
Anyone with information on the suspects or their whereabouts is asked to call Milwaukee Police. Live in the newsroom, Maya Norman, today's TMJ4.
New at 4, Milwaukee police are looking for the person who shot a woman earlier this afternoon. Officers responded to the area of 11th and Atkinson just before this afternoon. Police say they found the woman in her car after being shot in the back of the head. She was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. If you have any information, call the police. Right now, sheriff's deputies in Milwaukee County are looking for the person who shot a man on a local interstate. They were called to I-41 and Hampton Avenue just after 10 last night. Deputies say they found the victim seated in his car. The man was taken to a local hospital and there is no word on his condition. Sheriff Smith said in a statement, quote, "Barbaric behavior will not be tolerated. We are actively searching out suspects until justice is served."
A Catholic priest now on paid leave from his Pewaukee parish after a report is made to his Child Protective Services.
Maya Norman is live near the Church of Moore.
Most recently, the accused priest worked here at Queen of Apostles. Since he hasn't been charged, we are not naming him, but we did go to his house to see if he wanted to talk.
The priest is accused of inappropriate contact with a minor, according to the Survivors Network of those abused by priests. Ordained in 1983, he spent his last 4 years here at Queen of Apostles in Pewaukee. The church isn't talking, so we went to the priest's home.
Is he here? What's that?
We're relatives, so get out of here. The chief of staff of the Archdiocese of Milwaukee did agree to do a sit-down interview with us.
Something happened, obviously, that led someone to report. And without making a judgment about that, it was immediately reported to authorities.
So what exactly was reported? All the Archdiocese will say is the allegation is inappropriate contact, and that on April 29th, the alleged victim told another priest who then reported it to Child Protective Services and the Archdiocese. The Archdiocese tells us it's the first time this Pewaukee priest has been accused. Do you think he's guilty?
Well, that certainly would not be for me to answer or to judge.
The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office is handling the case. If no charges are filed, the Archdiocese says it will still likely do its own internal investigation.
We checked in with the DA. The priest hasn't been charged. He is on paid leave right now. The Archdiocese tells us he makes about $70,000 a year. Live in Pewaukee, Maya Norman, today's TMJ4.
2 people are dead after an early morning fire on 25th Street on the city's north side. The Milwaukee Fire Department says 2 elderly people were trapped inside the house. Crews found both residents on the first floor. Firefighters attempted to revive them both, but they were pronounced dead at the scene. The chief officer some advised to stay safe during a fire.
We ask, practice an escape plan. It's simply meeting with your family and asking, if a fire happens, what are we going to do?
Unfortunately, the house did not have a working smoke alarm. The Milwaukee Fire Department is more than willing to install home smoke alarms for free. An early morning fire caused by lightning forces a family into the streets. Firefighters were called to Williams and Linus around 5 this morning. All 3 people inside are there. 3 cats escaped okay. The Red Cross is helping with temporary housing.
It's my understanding they will be able to go back into the home and see what they can salvage, but as far as the extent of that, I can't speak to that.
The Red Cross also say that people living in the home were renting at the time. The house will likely be a total loss.
In just a few hours, the village of Mount Pleasant will vote on taking houses through eminent domain. The plan would help the village buy up any remaining homes for the new Foxconn development. Some people are holding out on selling their property. Construction has already began on the new plan. The village says eminent domain is a last resort and was offering 140% of market value for homes. A new Planned Parenthood clinic is now open in Sheboygan. The clinic comes at a time when sexually transmitted infection rates in Sheboygan County has spiked. Along with STI testing and education, the clinic will offer abortions to women in the first 10 weeks of pregnancy. Donors funded the new clinic.
This past weekend, 6 people ended up in the Milwaukee County morgue because of drugs. Maya Norman tells us how the medical examiner's office is keeping up.
Naomi, workers at the medical examiner's office say it was a busy weekend. A majority of the overdoses were on the south side.
How does that compare to any other typical weekend?
I can't think of other weekends where we've had this many, all within 2 days' time. This was unusual for us.
This past weekend was deadlier than most when it comes to drug-related overdoses in Milwaukee County. 6 people died, 5 men and 1 woman.
We're still trending along the opioids as the significant cause of death in cases so far this year, which mirrors what we were seeing last year. So we're seeing a lot of heroin, we're seeing a lot of fentanyl, we're seeing a lot of combination things.
Taking a look at this map, a majority of them happened on the south side. Sarah Schreiber with the ME's office says most of the victims from the weekend were in their 30s. The oldest was 55.
The trends are comparable to last year. We're a little bit behind where we were last year.
At this time last year, there were 139 confirmed drug-related overdose deaths. So far in 2018, there have been 79 confirmed deaths, but the ME's office says 65 other cases are pending, which adds up to a total of 144.
If you need help or know anyone who needs help with drug addiction, we have more information on how you can get help on our website, TMJ4.com. Live in Milwaukee, Maya Norman, today's TMJ4.
The 2nd streetcar has arrived in Milwaukee. The 67-foot long car was trucked in from Pennsylvania. The full route will be tested this summer. Service to the public is expected to start in November. All rides for the first year are free. And the streetcar might be a good option if gas prices keep going up. According to Gas Buddy, the price per gallon went up by almost 8 cents over the last week. Right now, the local average price for a gallon is $2.88. Madison is averaging $2.70 a gallon. Prices are expected to hit at least $3 a gallon.
A landmark ruling from the Supreme Court today could lead many states to legalize betting on college and professional sports. The court struck down a federal law that required states to ban gambling on sports. The ruling could set the stage for states to expand legalized gambling. Nevada has been the only state where legalized sports betting is allowed. Milwaukee County Parks made an exciting announcement earlier today. Clements Sausage is now the official sausage of Milwaukee County Parks. To celebrate the partnership, Clements is giving away 200 brats at the first 2 traveling beer gardens. Clements will also be sold at every golf course and aquatic center. Clements is also the sausage at the new Bucks Arena. And if you are using propane to cook your brats this summer, the city of Waukesha is reminding you not to put empty cylinders in recycling. The city says they can damage to equipment and workers. And put a link to the Waukesha Recycling Guide on our website at tmj4.com/links.
Ahead on Live at 4, a dad turns himself in after stabbing his 2 children. What he did after the stabbing that drew police to the bodies.
And also had new developments from the Prince Estate. What is going to be released next year?
You're watching today's TMJ4 with Charles Benson, Shannon Sims, and Storm Team 4 meteorologist Jesse Ritka.
A 56-year-old grandfather stabbed his adult son and daughter this morning and then set their house on fire. Police in Florida say a 29-year-old man heard his 31-year-old sister screaming and found their father stabbing her in the home. Authorities say the father then stabbed his son multiple times. 3 younger children were in the house at the time. The suspect eventually turned himself in. A man is behind bars after a fatal stabbing at Sonoma State University in California. Police say 1 person died in the incident at a freshman dorm yesterday. Investigators say the victim and suspect are of college age, but cannot confirm that they were students. The homicide is the first on campus in the 57-year history of the college.
A collection of never-heard-before Prince songs will be released next year. According to the Prince Estate, the music will first be released on Jay-Z's streaming service Tidal and be available for download. Jay-Z is working with the Prince Estate to select songs for the new album. Prince died of an accidental drug overdose in April 2016.
Actress Margaret Kidder has died. She was 69 years old. Kidder, best known for her role as Lois Lane in Superman films from the 1970s and 80s, died yesterday at her home in Livingston, Montana. According to her manager, Kidder passed away in her sleep. Kidder battled bipolar disorder for years and was an outspoken proponent of mental health and reform and other political causes. Coming up at 4:30, a local medical team reaching a big milestone for Wisconsin, the innovative technology behind it and the impact it is having on patients.
Plus, take a look at this dancing criminal caught on camera. But it's what he did next that has police hunting for him.
Need help with the consumer problem? Our call for action volunteers are ready. Call 414-967-5495 or request help online. Just click on the icon on the front page of our TMJ4.com.
That's not a bad start to the Brewers' 10-game road trip, especially when they move on to Arizona and face the team tied for the best early record in the National League, the Diamondbacks, starting tonight for a 3-game set. It's a great time for Travis Shaw to get hot. He's batting .412 in the 4 games on the road trip with 2 home runs. That snapped a 5-for-50 skid. The third baseman leads the team in runs, home runs, RBI doubles, and total bases. Now that's a lot of offensive production. The Bucks need some D, and last I checked, there's a D in Mike Budenholzer. Matt Velazquez of the Journal Sentinel reporting that the former Hawks head coach is expected to get another interview for the Bucks head coaching job tomorrow. But Toronto is also interested in his services. Kenseth in Kansas. You probably missed this over Mother's Day weekend, the return of Wisconsin native Matt Kenseth to the NASCAR Monster Energy Series. But Roush Racing, whomever, they're all chasing Kevin Harvick right now, winning back-to-back weeks and 5 so far this season. Wisconsin's open-wheel driver Aaron Telitz of Birchwood with a successful weekend. He finished 3rd, then 2nd in 2 Indy Lights Grand Prix races. He's now up to 6th in the points, 4 out of 5th. He's finished 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Could a first place be in the offering for the Freedom 100 at the Brickyard in a couple weeks? He came home 2nd last year. The Indy 500 2 weeks from yesterday. I still like the look of the Brickyard at the Indy Grand Prix. Turning right and left, Spencer Pigot, Peugeot. Gotta view that Dukes of Hazzard style. But will power dominate this race? His 3rd Indy Grand Prix win is 33rd overall. And for Team Penske, it's win number 200 for Roger and friends in a legendary career and favorite in the Indy 500. And J.R. Alexander is all in on this Packers thing. Graduation at Louisville, and he's flashing his green and gold jersey under the gown, rocking the 23. Apparently, this is a trend, as running back Aaron Jones also received his diploma at the University of Texas El Paso graduation, all while repping his 33 under his mortarboard. That's it for sports. We are back after the break.
One person is dead after a crash involving 2 tractor trailers on an Arkansas highway. One of the vehicles caught on fire shortly after the crash took place. Authorities with the Arkansas Department of Transportation confirmed one person has died in the crash.
Misfortune strikes a painting worth a fortune. This Pablo Picasso work was damaged during preps for a weekend exhibit in New York City. It's reportedly worth $70 million. The art has been pulled from the auction until experts repair the damage.
Breakdancing while breaking the law? That's what police say this man did when he illegally accessed in a building in California. According to officials, he used a set of keys to enter the building several times. The first time he made it in, he was caught on camera doing a little celebration dance. Police say that he stole a laptop and has been arrested. Thanks for joining us today at 4.
There is more news after the break.
Right now, from Milwaukee, this is today's TMJ4, live at 6.
Now it's 6 after a ton of rain this weekend. More has pounded southeast Wisconsin. The weekend was pretty much a wash, and we've had a steady dose of rain again today, and more is coming.
Meteorologist Brian Goddard is here to tell us more all about it.
Yeah, 4 inches of rain since last Wednesday, and here we go again. More heavy downpours. Racine, Kenosha County, nothing severe. There's a lot of red on the radar, a lot of lightning, maybe seeing some pea-size hail, but no 60-mile-per-hour winds or quarter-size hail. But just the last thing you need is more heavy rain in Racine and Kenosha. There is some good news. After we get the rains out of here tonight, we start to warm things up and dry things out. Sunshine through Friday with high temperatures in the 70s here in Milwaukee. 80s inland, and then we'll see Saturday and Sunday with a few scattered rain showers as well. Jesse Rick is out in the Storm Chaser. She is tracking those storms down to the south of us. Jesse?
Three men had to be rescued after their kayak and canoe capsized at Lime-Kiln Park yesterday. Grafton Fire says the 3 men were swept away by the current. They were able to get to an island safely and call for help. No one was hurt.
When weather hits where you live, pull out your camera and snap a few photos. If you send them to us, we may use them on TV. Just email them to news@tmj4.com or post them to one of our social media pages. A Catholic priest now on paid leave from his Pewaukee parish after a report is made to Child Protective Services.
Naomi Wilson is live near the Church of Moore.
Most recently, the accused priest worked here at Queen of Apostles. Since he hasn't been charged, we're not naming him, but we did go to his house to see if he wanted to talk.
The priest is accused of inappropriate contact with a minor, according to the Survivors Network of those abused by priests. Ordained in 1983, he spent his last 4 years here at Queen of Apostles in Pewaukee. The church isn't talking, so we went to the priest's home.
Is he here? What's that?
We're relatives, so get out of here. The chief of staff of the Archdiocese of Milwaukee did agree to do a sit-down interview with us.
Something happened, obviously, that led someone to report. And without making a judgment about that, it was immediately reported to authorities.
So what exactly was reported? All the Archdiocese will say is the allegation is inappropriate contact, and that on April 29th, the alleged victim told another priest who then reported it to Child Protective Services and the Archdiocese. The Archdiocese tells us it's the first time this Pewaukee priest has been accused.
Do you think he's guilty?
Well, that certainly would not be for me to answer or to judge.
The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office is handling the case. If no charges are filed, the Archdiocese says it will still likely do its own internal investigation.
We checked in with the DA. The priest hasn't been charged. He's on paid leave right now. The Archdiocese tells us he makes about $70,000 a year. Naomi Wilson, today's TMJ4.
This past weekend, 6 people ended up in the Milwaukee County morgue because of drugs. Naomi Wilson tells us how the medical examiner's office is keeping up.
Maya, workers at the medical examiner's office say it has been a busy weekend. A majority of the overdoses were on the south side.
How does that compare to any other typical weekend?
I can't think of other weekends where we've had this many, all within 2 days' time. This was unusual for us.
This past weekend was deadlier than most when it comes to drug-related overdoses in Milwaukee County. 6 people died, 5 men and 1 woman.
We're still trending along the opioids as the significant cause of death in cases so far this year, which mirrors what we were seeing last year. So we're seeing a lot of heroin, we're seeing a lot of fentanyl, we're seeing a lot of combination things.
Taking a look at this map, a majority of them happened on the south side. Sarah Schreiber with the ME's office says most of the victims from the weekend were in their 30s. The oldest was 55.
The trends are comparable to last year. We're a little bit behind where we were last year.
At this time last year, there were 139 confirmed drug-related overdose deaths. So far in 2018, there have been 79 confirmed deaths, but the ME's office says 65 other cases are pending, which adds up to a total of 144.
If you need help or know anyone who needs help with drug addiction, we have more information on how you can get help on our website, tmj4.com. Naomi Wilson, today's TMJ4.
You can now safely get rid of unused or unwanted medication at Hyatt Pharmacy Milwaukee. There's a drop box at each location. Experts say you should never flush pills down the toilet. The drugs will go straight into the water supply.
A Racine man charged after allegedly leading police on a chase and dragging an officer with his car. The criminal complaint says a Mount Pleasant police officer tried to stop at Las Lacrel Clay near a hotel. Clay sped off, then went back to the same hotel where officers tried to stop him again. That's when the officer was dragged. Clay later was found hiding in the back of his car and was arrested.
The Lake Geneva teen who spent weeks in a coma overseas is speaking publicly for the first time. Nathan Dyer was on vacation in Morocco when he fell sick. He was transported to Paris, where he was stranded due to his health issues. He returned home safely last week. Today, he thanked those who sent money to help bring him home.
It's been so nice to hear from old friends and also just random strangers that we wouldn't know, and everyone has been very supportive and we love it, so thank you.
The money raised will help the family pay off Nathan's medical bills. A couple trapped in their home are killed in a fire this morning near 25th and Malvina in Milwaukee. Fire officials say the fire started in the basement and quickly spread to the first floor. A man and woman in their 70s were found inside the home. Fire Chief Mark Rolfling reports home smoke alarm was not working.
We can't emphasize enough, test your smoke alarms. It doesn't take much. You press a little button, it makes an annoying noise, and you know they're working.
If you don't have a working smoke alarm in your home, you can call the Milwaukee Fire Department and they will come install one for free.
Could a shakeup be coming to Wisconsin's largest school district? Governor Scott Walker says it may be time to shake things up at Milwaukee Public Schools as it faces a project budget deficits. The district is also in the midst of a budget battle as outgoing Superintendent Darianne Driver is heading to a new job this summer. Milwaukee Public Schools released this statement saying, in part, the long-term fiscal problems are general state aid that is virtually stagnant compared to the cost of the living index and a state revenue limit policy that provides over $1,000 more per student to districts that serve significantly fewer poor students, English language learners, and special needs students. The deadline has passed for teachers and staff with an MPS to let the district know whether they intend to return next year. A letter was sent to staff in late April. The original deadline was May 1st, but a technical glitch forced the extension.
Still ahead on Live at 6, after a major reverse by the Supreme Court on sports gambling, hear the possibility of Wisconsin changing course.
And then another milestone for the Milwaukee streetcar. Find out what's next now that 2 vehicles are being tested.
Here's what's on today's TMJ4 tonight. At 6:30, it's The Now. At 7, it's The Voice. At 9, it's Running Wild with Bear Grylls. And then more news on Live at 10.
You're watching today's TMJ4 with Shannon Sims, Charles Benson, Storm Team 4 meteorologist Jesse Ritka, and Lance Allen, sports.
Residents of Milwaukee's northwest side are being asked to speak up if they see something out of the ordinary. 3 people were shot Saturday near Gertrude and Palmetto. 1 of them died. Police believe this may have been a drug deal gone bad. Alderman Cavalier Johnson, who represents the Northwest Side, released this statement saying, in part, in order to ensure the stability of the neighborhoods like these, I encourage concerned constituents to collect as much information as possible on the make, model, and license plate of vehicles involved in mobile drug dealing and report that information.
It's now up to the individual states on whether to allow sports betting. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down a law today that had kept most states from making sports gambling legal. It could be a while before Wisconsin changes anything on the books, but what would the impact be here? We asked Governor Scott Walker today.
I don't think it'll have an impact. Our state's constitution is pretty clear about prohibitions on various forms of what would be considered online gambling and the compacts that were negotiated before I was in governor.
Some states had already proposed legislation before today's ruling. Wisconsin was not one of them.
Still ahead, a senior prank you have to see to believe.
And Foxconn makes another hire. Find out which company will be in charge of transforming part of the property into Wisconsin Valley.
Storm Team 4 now. Here's another live look from our today's TMJ4 Storm Chaser in Racine. Some nice clouds there. Brian Goddard will have more in just a few minutes.
Foxconn has selected a master planner for its $10 billion manufacturing plant. Wisconsin-based Hams Company will be Foxconn's lead partner in planning infrastructure and development for the Westcon Valley Science and Technology Park. Foxconn hopes the project will become one of the most significant business park projects in North America. Property acquisition expected to be discussed at tonight's Village Board meeting in Mount Pleasant. There are still some homeowners who are holding out on selling their property to the village for the Foxconn project. The village has acquired about 95% of the land needed.
Another milestone for Milwaukee's streetcar project today as a second vehicle is now on the tracks. The vehicle left Brookville, Pennsylvania last week and was delivered this morning. Streets testing of the vehicles delivered so far will continue on portions of St. Paul Avenue until the summer. Once full testing is over, the Hop should be passenger ready by November.
Senior pranks are pretty common this time of year, but this one might take the cake. At first glance, this looks like a terrible accident. Rest assured, it's a clever senior prank by students at Cumberland High School. That's in northwest Wisconsin. The hole you see there is a black tarp taped to the wall. No damage was done to the school or the car you see there. Pretty amazing.
As grilling season gets underway, Waukesha County is reminding people not to recycle propane tanks. The tanks can damage equipment, but also put collection and recycling workers at risk of being hurt. Parents can start applying for a $100 child tax rebate tomorrow. The rebate can be claimed through the website childtaxrebate.wi.gov. There you can find if you're eligible and what information you need to apply. This project is open through July 2nd. The rebate was proposed by Governor Walker and signed into law earlier this week. Next in sports, Naomi Wilson tells the Bucks coaching search could be zeroing in on a candidate with some D.
Three to 1, that's not a bad start to the Brewers' 10-game road trip, especially when they move on to Arizona and face the team tied for the early best record in the National League. The Diamondbacks starting tonight for a 3-game set. It's a great time for Travis Shaw to get hot. He's batting .412 in the 4 games on the road trip with 2 home runs. That snapped a 5 for 50 skid. The third baseman leads the team in runs, home runs, RBI doubles, and total bases. Now that's a lot of offensive production. The Bucks need some D, and last time I checked, there's a D in Mike Budenhauser. Matt Velazquez of the Journal-Sentinel reporting the former Hawks head coach is expected to get another interview for the Bucks head coaching job tomorrow, but Toronto is also interested in his services. In Kansas, you probably missed this over Mother's Day weekend. The return of Wisconsin native Matt Kenseth to the NASCAR Monster Energy Series, but Roush Racing, whomever, they're all chasing Kenneth Harvick right now, winning back-to-back weeks and 5 so far this season. Wisconsin open house driver Aaron Tilts of Birchwood with a successful weekend. He finished 3rd, then 2nd in the 2 Indy Lights Grand Prix races. He's now up to 7th in points, 4 out of 5th. He's finished 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Could at first place be in the offing for the Freedom 100 at the Brickyard in a couple weeks. He came home 2nd last year. The Indy 500 2 weeks from yesterday. I still like the look of Brickyard of the Indy Grand Prix. Turning right and left, Spencer Pigot got a view of the Ducks of Hazard style, but still power dominates the race. His 3rd Indy Grand Prix win, his 33rd overall, and for the team Penske, it's win number 200 for Roger and friends and a legendary career and favorite in the Indy 500. And Jair Alexander is all in on this Packers thing. Graduation at Louisville, and he's flashing his green and gold jersey under the gown, rocking the 23. Apparently, this is a trend, as running back Aaron Jones also received his diploma at the University of Texas El Paso graduation, all while repping his 33 under his mortar board. That's it for sports. We are back after the break.
Here's what's coming up next on the Now. A Waukesha County family may be forced to give up their unusual pets, but now they're crying foul. The rule that's threatening their feathered friends. That's next on the Now.
All right, let's take a peek. Ooh, looks like a little rain in store for us. Not too cats and doggy, but want to remind you, don't step in a poodle. Got warming up here on that weekend. That'll be pretty good for busting out that grill. All right, I see that Clemens sausage is hot and fresh. Thanks for joining us at 6.
The Now is next.